Welcome to another episode of Agents of Non-Pro's fantastic Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. review show starring Frank and Matt and no one else. So a lot of devastating things happen. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is it's picked up for its second season. That's great news. But the season finale happened, and a lot of things happened on the Agents of Non-Pro. First of all, James, Hydra agent. Shocking. Well, what? Not too shocking?
I kind of saw it coming.
I suspected it when he killed Al, and then discovering that he was the one who killed Vin and Ken, that pretty much sealed it. That's why we kept losing people on the show. James was murdering them. Cappy's in the wind. No one knows where he is. We hope he survived the James Purge, but we don't know. It's possible he's lying in a gutter somewhere choking on his own hat. I am, of course, in an undisclosed location that is totally not a laundry room somewhere. And Matt is a life model decoy, but we all called and saw that coming.
I'm very excited to be part of this review show.
Very good, very good. Despite the fact that we're going to do a bigger review show later in the week, and we invite all our listeners and watchers to participate, in fact, telling us your favorite episode of this season of S.H.I.E.L.D. and perhaps your least favorite as well. We're going to talk a little bit about our feelings right now. So, season finale happened. It was pretty exciting and pretty interesting. Matt, what were your blanket thoughts on it?
I thought it was really great. The show has come such a long way since the beginning. At the very least, I think it did a good job of wrapping up a lot of the plot points as well as setting up for the next season. I thought it was a very solid, very good ending to what it was a rocky start to the series.
Right. I want to rewatch the series from the beginning because I don't know why people complained about it being so slow, but it seems like a consistent complaint. So it's probably something I'd catch on a rewatch. I'm the person who bought a cassette tape of the Mortal Kombat movie soundtrack because I was like, this is the best music I've ever heard and the best movie I've ever seen. Upon rewatching, I reevaluated at least one of those two statements. I liked the episode a lot. I thought it was a very good season finale. I think they did some things excellently, the best they possibly could have. And then other things, while I enjoyed them thoroughly, I felt somewhat disappointed. So I'm going to let's start with the bad. Do you have any bad to get out of the way? Because I have probably a little bit more bad than you do.
Nothing specific, but I have a feeling I know what you're going to be talking about, and I think I'm going to disagree but also agree with some of them on certain parts, so you go right ahead.
All right. My biggest problem with the finale, and I want to say it first just to get it out of the way, is that I think Garrett was a very interesting, cool character, and he was set up as a major threat, but I don't think he was resolved as a major threat. I think he was a joke, and while the jokes are funny, I feel like after the first act, which was installing the Trojan horse that Skye was building in the last episode, or that we found about in the last episode, after that succeeded, they pretty much had all the tools they needed to win. And there wasn't really a lot of consequences or a lot of stakes in the rest of the episode, except for one or two really cool scenes, which we'll get to a little bit. So is that what you thought I was going to say?
Yes, I do that because I also agree. When I first watched it, I really liked it, but watching it again, I still really like it, and I wouldn't really count it as a negative for myself, but I do totally understand where others come from. Just kind of the way that Garrett was kind of just basically like talked down upon by both Nick Fury and Coulson. I mean, I love the banter, but it's like, Garrett got the super whatever juice. And he was supposed to be this really big bad. And we do get to see him really be a really big bad when he does a literal Mortal Kombat fatality. But, yeah, I understand why people would be upset. I still think that the dialogue made up for it, kind of like ease the salt in the wound. But I do understand.
Yeah, and I do really like the banter and the silliness. So it's weird that I'm saying that I wish it wasn't there, but at the same time I like that it was there. I do like the significance of Nick Fury handing the BFG
Yeah.
to Coulson's BFG back to him. That was kind of cool, and it was helped. You guys helped me see that was a really awesome nod to the Avengers. Um, and one thing that did stick in my mind related was I was pretty sure, and I may have been wrong about this, but when I first saw it live, I felt that Garrett was stomped by Deathlock. We went to
Mm,
commercial. We came back from commercial. We saw Garrett on a gurney. They covered him up and took him out of the room. And Coulson said that he was dead. And then a little later on, we get the first of the fake out endings, sort
right.
of, where Garrett stands up, says, That's why they say you have to cut off the head." And he gets into the machine, and then he gets blown away. But apparently, I'm remembering this wrong.
Like after you mentioned that, I went to rewatch the scene, and you do see Garrett get covered up, but from what I saw, you actually don't get him. You don't actually see him get wheeled out. They just actually leave the body there, which is kind of
Oh,
weird in itself. It's like, why
yeah.
leave the body there?
Mhm.
But I mean, I kind of forgive it again because the payoff I was fantastic to me.
Yeah, it was hilarious, but I felt like it was. See, the first time I saw it, I was convinced. And the weird thing is, so was James, that they had taken him out because we both looked at each other like that was funny, but that didn't make any sense. Why did they take him out of the room dead and then put him back in the room so he would stand up and get shot? That didn't make sense to me. But I could totally have misseen that scene, and instead of just being wheeled out, he was covered and left there.
Yeah, you definitely see him getting covered. I'll take another rewatch, so when we do the bigger review, we'll come back to the scene with everybody here. But
Mhm.
I'm pretty sure that they actually never took the body out of the room.
That's cool. One of the theories we had going, and I'll have James say this, it may be completely debunked by the fact that he wasn't wheeled out, was that there were probably multiple teaser credit endings, and before they had known that they were signed for a second season, we may have gotten the Garrett head blown off ending as the final ending for the series. But once they realized he got signed off, they made more of the open-ended ones, which would be
Hmm.
cool if true. It means that they cared enough to actually do both and show us both.
I totally could see that.
All right, screw the pessimism. Let's go with the optimism. My favorite part, the banter was really good, the funniness, but my absolute favorite part is the Sky. I'm sorry, the Fitz and Simmons underwater sequence. Sounds like they had an under the sea moment, but that entire thing was great.
You know, I've said at the beginning of the series that I absolutely loathe Fitz and Simmons. I didn't expect much of their characters. I thought, okay, they were there to appease like the Doctor Who fans and the fans of British television. But foot in my mouth, they've had like some of the best growth and development throughout the entire cast, and I absolutely agree. Their time together underwater, just the culmination of their experiences, their friendships, and Fitz's feelings for Simmons was fantastic. It was a clinic for great drama, I thought.
It was a really good series of sequences. The emotional connection between the two characters was really cool. When I was watching it with James and Katie, we were all saying like, "Oh, I want them to kiss," which was we're joking. We don't necessarily. There's a lot of ways a relationship can go, but the funny thing to say was we wanted them to kiss, and when they did kiss, but it was like a kiss goodbye, we were freaking out. Like, no, why is this happening? It's really hard to do the tension of this main character is going to die or sacrifice themselves,
Mm.
but they're not. It's hard to play that so that it's both seems genuine, yet you know they're going to stick around. And I think, to be honest, I think sometimes the lazier writing is to have them sacrifice themselves.
Mm.
I think it's the easier, and it's what we see a lot more recently. You see just like, no, people can die randomly for no reason.
Right.
But to make it so that he does get saved, but it was a skin of your teeth save, was wonderful. And the fact Nick Fury, I wasn't so happy with his. It was cute the banter with Coulson, but his appearance to save Fitz and Simmons, I was cheering and screaming. It was awesome. We joked that it wasn't even Nick Fury; it was Samuel L. Jackson, who stormed the set and said, "No, you're not going to kill Fitz and Simmons, damn it! No way in hell!" With his own
Yeah,
helicopter.
yeah, I agree. And although it may seem at first to be like a Deus Ex Machina that Nick Fury appearing out of nowhere, it really does make sense that he would be the only person still listening to shield frequencies, which Fitz made the short range distress signal from. I feel like
Right.
it's in character for Nick Fury. Like even though he's a left shield, as you see in Captain America, he still can't really let go. So I
Absolutely.
thought it was a great surprise, but also it made sense logically to me.
And it makes sense that there aren't a lot of Shield frequencies going out at this point
Mm.
because Shield has basically been disbanded. Do you have a favorite team you want to bring up?
One thing that I really want to talk about is Ward and May's fight scene. I think it's
Okay.
like one of the best fight scenes I've ever seen in television. It really reminded me of the movie The Raid, which is like one of my favorite action movies ever. Just the fact that what I really find cool about the fights in Agents of Shield is that unlike when you see like the main Marvel movies where it's very superhero-y, everybody poses and does really fancy um, choreographed fighting. Like this fight was down dirty and like they were out for blood. And like the finish to it with the nail gun, I winced in my seat and it was like, wow, man, that was they're I kind of understand why they're pushing the show to 9 now. Just the fact
Yeah.
that like the fact they've got way so much a lot of gruesome stuff in their time slot would surprise me. So
Right.
it's but I think it's really cool.
Yeah, I think it was a pretty fun sequence. Just as a weird little writing thing, I think it's a genius move in a honest way that they fractured or whatever Ward's larynx
Mm,
because think of what he could have possibly said at the end of the season for that would have made any percentage of the audience happy. If he
mm,
had said something that was like, "Listen, I have reasons for being evil," people would be like, "Yeah, that redeems you. That's stupid. I hate the fact that they're going to try to redeem Ward." If he had said something like, "Yes, and now I'm totally evil," that would have annoyed the other half of us.
mm.
But having him not say anything was really interesting and a nice way of dealing with that. And he just had to like play the whole thing with body language. It was very cool.
Yeah.
hmm I will also say a good scene, one that made my heart cheer, and it's barely a scene, but the return of Patton Oswalt's character, sort of. How the hell did we call that?
I
How in the hell did we do that?
I don't know, but I'll take it. I mean,
Yeah,
I would totally understand if they went, oh no, he actually has a twin brother. But if they actually go with the life model decoy route, it was like I can't even be mad at that they did
no.
something like that because I mean Patton Oswalt's back and like we loved his character and it was such a shame to see him killed off. Um, but I'm just really excited that he's going to be at least possibly a returning guest character for at some sort of frequency.
Absolutely. And I think if anyone justifies their introduction, the final long expected introduction of life model decoys into the Marvel Cinematic Universe, it would be
We
Patton
pass on.
Oswalt.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Um, so yeah, I mean, I think our teaser endings. I mean, there's a lot of interesting things. We did not see Fitz return at the ending.
No.
Uh, yeah.
I mean, I'm there's some theories possibly that they're unsure if the actor is going to return or not. So maybe that's
Mhm.
why they kind of left it out in the open. But we'll see. I kind of do hope that both Fitz and Simmons do come, especially now that they've established themselves as their own character, their own
Mhm.
characters. I think they could definitely fit that they're their own unique aspect of the team while still teaming
Right.
up doing their sciencey stuff.
Agent Trip got enough camera time with his Howling Commandos gear,
Mhm.
which was probably makes it a somewhat link to Agent Carter, which
Yeah.
is a new show they're coming out with. That's interesting. And we got our teasers. We got our teasers. The really interesting teaser that here's one thing about the Bartlett twist that I think we'll talk about a little later too. Bartlett's pretty much major goal in the finale was to talk to Coulson because we have a lot to talk about. And Coulson at the very end is writing the same crazy space writing
Mm.
that Bartlett was doing and that we've seen before.
Yeah.
Uh, Garrett, did I say Bartlett? I did.
This is the West Wing, although
Although crossover that Garrett was working on. So I feel like if the funniness had more, like, if it was more depressing that they lost all these opportunities to talk to
Mm,
Garrett or interrogate Garrett and get an idea of what the coming darkness and evil is,
mm.
it would have made all the jokes that happened beforehand framed it much differently. So that it's like, hey, yeah, you guys were having fun blowing up Garrett, but you missed an opportunity to be agents. Uh,
I mean, I
uh,
feel like the show has been pretty aware of itself and like been very conscious of its plot points. So I do have a feeling they might bring that up in season two, especially when Coulson starts doing more writing or going more crazy.
right.
Um, I
Possibly immediately. They're
Yeah,
like, hey, what's all this on the ship? Why did we? Why did we blow up Garrett? And that
exactly.
brings Ward into the story hardcore theoretically.
Mm,
And Sky's parents' revelation, vague revelation, it shows that the show can still be a mystery show, give us a lot of answers, yet still keep us coming back to answer questions. Because I know at the beginning of the show I couldn't care less about Sky,
mm.
and no real reason. It just wasn't really super captivating. But now, once you've seen her father, maybe mother, I don't know what that was, but
Yeah.
creepy as hell.
And the weird thing is, there aren't any much speculation about who the parent is because no one really knows at all. I
Right.
mean, you see like a bloody hand, and that could mean anybody, even if we're not even sure if it is blood.
Yeah.
So I'm curious to see where they're going to take that.
Yeah. So I think we had an interesting first season. I wonder how many people are going to go now that it's done, and there's been overwhelmingly high positive reviews from the people that stuck with it. That is to say, good reviews from the people who stuck with it the last few episodes. I wonder how many people are going to like Netflix it or Hulu it or whatever the hell people are, ABC Go it. I
Hmm.
don't know.
I
So I'm
mean,
curious to
like
find out.
apparently it's been doing well on like the on-demand um, ratings and stuff.
Cool.
So hopefully now that people like the whole entire series is done, they don't have to wait for each week for an episode. Now they know they can watch at their own pace. I feel like a lot of people are going to be checking it out, and so hopefully by the time season two, we'll have a lot more viewership because it's a fun show and it's great and it's it'd be heartwarming to see more people get into it, a lot more discussion to go on.
Right, right.
It's
More
getting
nerding
really
out.
good. Yeah.
Right. A lot of my friends and our fans have been asking which episode should we stick to if we just want to see if it's really for us now that people are saying that there is a good reason. I think that's a good question. I think we should probably come up with a recommended viewing
Oh yeah,
list.
definitely.
And we should ask, you know what, leave a comment on this video once it posts on YouTube and let us know which episodes do you think were the strongest of the season, which episodes do you think we should probably just skip.
Hmm.
Um, and we'll talk about it in the next week as we do our final wrap of season 1 of Agents of Shield. Matt, thank you for joining me, or you or your duplicate, your robotic duplicate.
And thank you for potentially risking your security by broadcasting from your unknown location. You're probably
Hmm.
gonna have to move soon. I get
Yes,
on it.
yes. Ominous. I hear the black helicopters circling around our studio right now, so we're going to end a little early. There's actually probably a video up, I think, of James and I watching it live. I don't know how entertaining it is. We've trimmed it down so it's less boring, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure how bad it is. But it should be very interesting. And all of our Agents of Non-Pro, Agents of Shield TV Party Review Show extravaganza is available online if you go to our YouTube page, youtube.com/nonproductive. Subscribe, and we will give you a cookie. Poisoned. So, from all of us in our respective locations that we are not going to tell you, to all of you out there, enjoy Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. on demand, enjoy our review show, and keep watching the skies. That's not the right show for that.
Keep
Wasn't that
watching
the sky?
Sky. Hmm.
Oh, I like it. Good
All right.
night, everybody!
Bye.